These new Google Deep Research AI agents are absolutely insane. So what I'm going to show you today is the new release from Gemini, and this is their deep research model. We're using Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking. So it's a brand new model that's just come out this week that is free for everyone to access. So if you want to use deep research agents, I'll show you exactly how to get access, what it means for you, what the differences are, and exactly how it works. Plus, I'll show you some of the samples and how it looks once you've completed one of these research tasks, right? Now, you might be wondering, okay, what is deep research? Essentially, this goes way beyond like your typical chat GPT response or your typical response from AI. It's way more powerful than that. And essentially, what you're generating here is something that typically like a PhD level research assistant would be able to help you with, but you can generate it in minutes and you can get the latest data. So you can pull in the latest data from the web, right? So, for example, it also has a feature where it can search the internet so it can get the most relevant, up-to-date data. It can also reason through the process iteratively, and then finally it gives you a report once that is done. Now, if you're wondering, okay, how do you get access to it? So you can go over to gemini.google.com, and then in the top left here, you're going to select Deep Research. And again, this is free. Also, it's available in many different languages. So you don't just have to do this in English. You can do this in any language that you want. And it's super powerful stuff. What it's great for is a few use cases. For example, like it's really good for competitive analysis. So, you can look through what's going on in your industry, how things are working, etc. And then from there, this is really powerful for coming up with new products. In fact, when we actually launched the AI Profit Boardroom, which now has, I think, something like 460 members. We only launched this last month, by the way. And using the power of deep research, we actually researched the whole landscape, figured out what's working, what's not, who our competitors are, and then how we can put something together that's completely unique. And once you get that sort of research in, it's like gold, because essentially you can figure out, okay, this is how we penetrate the market. This is how we make our products different. And that's only going to make you money, right? The more you understand your market, the more you understand your competitors, the better the results you're going to get when you launch a new business or a new product or whatever it is. So pretty powerful stuff. You can also see here it's great for due diligence, for example, like investigating sales leads, analyzing the company's products, funding history, team and competitive environments, topic understanding. If you want to go really deep and dive into a topic, this is one of the best ways to do it. So for example, if you want to just know everything that you can about research agents, then you can use a process like Gemini's Deep Research to actually help you achieve that. And finally, product comparisons. And I'll show you exactly how we did this in a practical way in a second, comparing all of the agents on the market. If you haven't realized already, 2025 is a year of AI agents. ChatGPT began by releasing theirs, then Perplexity. We've also got, for example, Grok 3 actually released a deep research opportunity as well, and then Gemini have now followed suit. In fact, I think Gemini one of the first ones, but now they've made it completely free. And it's also using Google 2.0 Flash Experimental. So those are the two main updates right there. Now, this is available on desktop and mobile, so you can also search from the app if you want to. It's available in 150 countries, in 45 languages, and also to Google Workspace users. To get access, just go to gemini.google.com, and in the top left, you're going to select between which AI agent you want to use. And of course, for this, you would select Deep Research. Other thing you got to note here as well is like when you're doing this, it's going to take a few minutes to generate. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So this is not like an instantaneous answer, unlike Gemini or Gemini Advanced. So we can compare what the others are versus the normal version of it. Right? Really cool right here. And yeah, it's basically just an agent that goes off and searches the web. So, first of all, what it's going to do is break down the problem and try and figure out, okay, what are you looking for? And you can actually edit the plan before you post it. Then it's going to go off and do the research. And then it synthesizes all that research directly for you. So pretty cool stuff. And then, of course, I can only see this being integrated more into like actual Google searches as well, so that people get better results. It's step by step. So if you want to use Deep Research, go to gemini.google.com, then you can select Deep Research. And what you can do is you can, for example, okay, let's say, for example, you wake up one morning and you're like, I don't have any sleeves on my t-shirt. How do I get sleeves on my t-shirts? Research best t-shirts in 2025 with sleeves on, and compare the tank top market versus t-shirt market. Now, right, for those guys at home who don't have sleeves on the t-shirt. And then we're going to hit submit. And you can see here how we've got deep research selected. So that's what we're looking for here, right? Now, if you actually compare this versus the normal version of Gemini, let me pull this up. And let's say you're using like just 2.0 Flash without deep research. So you can select it inside there and you can add a few other things as well. But we'll just go with the normal version of Gemini Flash. So you can see here how quickly and easy it is to get instantaneous results using Gemini Flash, right? But it's not that in depth. And also the content itself is more likely to include hallucinations and that sort of thing. Whereas if you, for example, use deep research, like you can see right here, then this is a bit of a game changer because you're basically planning out the research process. It's like a giant prompt and it's a chain of thought process as well. So it's going to start off with the research, then it's going to go off and analyze the results, it's going to create the report, and it'll be ready in a few minutes. And you can also edit the plan over here. So we can edit the research plan and it'll be like, okay, which changes you want to make. So let's say, for example, okay, we want to focus only on t-shirts in the UK. Then it's going to edit the plan. So it's updated the list, made everything UK specific. So for example, let's say you're operating in a certain market or a certain niche and you're doing that research. This is one of the easiest and best ways to do it. And then from there, we can go off and start doing that, right? Now, if we click start research over here, it's going to start working its magic and you can see the thinking process here. So you can also switch between show thinking and sites browse. So with the sites browse, essentially what you're doing is you're grabbing all the sources that you've got, right? For example, if we compare, this is a list of all the sources that have been included. You can see the thought process behind this. So it's using a reasoning model to generate the outputs. Why would you want a reasoning model to generate the outputs? Because you're only going to get better results, right? It thinks through the process and gives you ideas, etc. And so you can see here it says initial search focus. I'm starting my research by looking into expert opinions and recommendations for the best t-shirts with sleeves in the UK for 2025. Then I'm going to do a market comparison approach. And then after that, identify the criteria that experts use to evaluate t-shirts. This will help me understand what makes a t-shirt the best in the UK market. Gives you a list of the sites that it's actually researching. And you can see here as well, when it's using this research, right, it's not just researching random sites on the internet that you probably wouldn't trust yourself. It's using mostly expert sources, right? So Uniqlo, menshealth.com, amazon.com, independent.co.uk. These are all like some of the biggest brands in the world, right, when it comes to this niche. And so you can see that it's basically selecting the best websites to source from when it comes to its results. Then step by step, you get the reasoning as it goes further. And also if it needs further investigation, it's going to do that, right? So it says, right, to get a more in-depth understanding, I need to delve deeper into the identified articles to understand blah, 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 right? Researches more websites, comes up with more evaluation criteria, and then it will just keep going through. Now, if we go back to that sites browse list, you can see it's much longer than it was previously, right? So previously it was just 14 websites. Now it's already looked through 83 websites, which is absolutely insane, right? And this is doing it all on your behalf. So Gemini is searching the web and browsing content for you on your behalf, and you don't have to do anything. And so this agentic model is really cool because you can just have this running in the background. You could come back in 30 minutes and the agent has just gone off and researched everything for you. Now, I'm waiting for this to load. Again, it does take a bit of time, so it might take 5 or 10 minutes. If you want to see one that I've generated earlier, let me show you an example right here. Where have we got it? We'll check the list on the side, scroll through the recent results, and we've got an example of a report that we generated earlier. The other cool thing about Gemini, of course, is that it also links directly to Google Docs, right? So if we click on export to Google Docs here, it's going to create a Google document based on the research. So it integrates really nicely, which is quite unique. All right, so that's opening up in Google Docs like you can see. Let's see how long the report is. So it's 5,500 words, right? Bear in mind, like we come back to that response from Gemini earlier. Let's pull that up. So this is Gemini Flash just on its own, not deep research. The word count of that answer was 392 words, right? The research report that we get back from this assistant is 5,500 words, right? So you can see the depth of research and the way that it just gives you a totally different output versus anything that you want. It's 13 pages long. And also when you're sending this straight to a Google Doc as well, it's just going to convert really nicely, right? So you can see here, for example, it had a really nice table, nicely laid out there, compares all the differences, etc. It's got all the sources at the bottom so you can check them. The only thing I would say here is I don't like the way it's using medium.com to source ideas. So let's just open it up. Yeah, so you see here how it's using medium.com to source some of the answers. That's not great because, of course, if it's using Medium, like anyone can post on there, and even I can post on there. So you don't know how authoritative some of those sources are if it's creating a research report. But that's the only criticism I have of it. The fact that this is free is absolutely amazing. Bear in mind, when ChatGPT first released their deep research model, that was costing on ChatGPT operator mode, I think it was $200 per month, so that's $2,500 a year. And then also you could only use it 30 times per month, right? Which is one report per month. Whereas with this, you can generate multiple different reports. You don't pay anything. And it's grabbing the latest research data. It's super in depth. The other thing that I would say, though, that is a problem is like this kind of reads like an academic report. So you get that PhD level analysis, but at the same time, is this accessible for like the majority of the internet? Probably not, right? Most people are not going to be able to read the whole thing. It's not going to make much sense to most people, so not going to be that useful. But if you need to generate like an academic report, research, if you need to do new product analyses, if you're doing something business related, then this is absolutely perfect. And also what you can do here is like, you can just grab all the content from the page, go back to Gemini and say, okay, just summarize this into first grade level language, simplify it, make it easier to understand. So yeah, if you look at this, I mean, it is super long-winded. Even for me, it's a struggle, like just to read that on the screen, like you probably want to print that out. I don't think you're going to read it from start to finish, unless you got like an hour to go through it all. This is probably the most useful bit where it takes all that research and just turns it into a nice little table. So it's super easy to understand. But again, like you can just copy this. You can go over to Gemini and you just say like, summarize this into first grade level language, simplify it, make it easy to understand, add some headings plus subheadings. And there you go, like that's a lot easier to understand. It takes all that research, which is super useful. And then, you get something that's actually actionable from it, right? Or you could give it to the AI and say like, listen, just make this super actionable. So we've got the example right here. Sources at the bottom, you can read all the previous thoughts as well. And then if you export it to Google Docs, obviously you can share it with your team, right? So that's super useful. And then if we go to the side chat, can we share this with other people? So we can pin it, but we can't share the actual chat, I don't think, from what I can see. But yeah, if you just export that to Google Docs, then click share in the top right, anyone with the link, hit done, boom shakalaka. You've got your report ready to go. So that's probably one of the best ways to do it, honestly. And then from there, you've got your research and you're good to go on that. Honestly, I think for Gemini, like I don't really use Gemini. I don't even consider it in most of the tests I do. But if I'm comparing all these models, I would say the deep research is by far the most practical feature out of everything. And just to summarize here, so it's free as of March the 13th. Key features, so free access, supported in 45 languages, is transitioned from Gemini 1.5 Pro to Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking Experimental. So obviously it's an upgrade in terms of the quality as well. And then the output quality is much better as well. And then this seems to be a lot faster than other models. I'll compare them next as well. And then you see some of the use cases, accuracy, and you know how to access it as well. So what I'm actually going to do is I'll plug that report, if you want to see the whole detail of that, into the AI Profit Boardroom. This community, it comes with all my best SOPs, templates, tutorials, etc. And if you go to the Google Free Deep Research Agent section, I'll include that report example right there, along with details on how to access it, and also some research on like the key stats and everything else. Super useful stuff. By the way, this AI Profit Boardroom community comes with all my best SOPs for email and content automation, social media, AI agents, web automation, etc., AI SEO automation, and also all my best SOPs. And if you ever get stuck, you can go inside the community here and just ask inside the community for any questions that you have. And finally, inside the calendar here, you can jump on weekly Q&As with us and just ask us any questions you have, or your team can as well. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. Price is going up again at the end of the month, so make sure you don't miss out now. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 business month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot, feel free to get that. On this link building acceleration session, you'll get a free SEO domination plan. So you'll get custom tailored plan to generate more lead sales and profits from your website. You'll discover the secrets of SEO link building, we'll answer any questions you have, and you'll learn the best link building strategy for your website based on what's working for us and our happy clients, like you can see right here. Feel free to get that link in the comments description. Appreciate you watching.